Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 165, Akira from 1988. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too. And this episode is brought to you by the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, the Cool Olympics. With a vision of joyful rendezvous upon pure ice and snow, Beijing 2020 will build upon the legacies of the landmark Beijing 2008 Olympic Games and expects to encourage millions of people across China to embrace winter sports. Shout out to the Winter Olympics.
Well, shout out to the Winter Olympics and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, no guest. This is our first time in a long time we've had no guest.
Oh, that's right.
I was trying to think back. It wasn't that long ago, and I actually just had the answer in my head, and then it went away. We had Noel with no guest, but I think we had one more recent than that.
No, because we had Garrett on for Tokyo Drifter and Brian on for
Better Luck Tomorrow. Yeah, so it went back. Oh, well, we did Spy Racer Sahara the first time.
Okay.
And then before that was Noel, yeah. But it's been a while. And before that, we had Larson on for Long Kiss Good Night. So it's been
a lot of guests on bonuses, yeah.
You know, we got a lot of guests coming up this lap, but this next little burst, aside from Heather's, regularly scheduled thing, I don't know that we're going to have another one till May or April. Sorry, not May. Hello, April. April. Let's not be crazy here. I just completely forgot numbers for a second there. I feel like we got a lot to talk about this episode, but Joe, extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since we last recorded?
Something that I did that I know that you did too, is that we got our second dose of the vaccine. And weirdly, when I went in, I don't know if everyone that has gotten it before me was warning me yo, the second dose is like crazy, right? Like a lot of people said they got fevers from it and weren't feeling very good. I go into the clinic where they're giving them out. Everybody's warning me, nurses, everyone. Nothing this time. I got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I had nothing either time. So there's a conspiracy theorist people who are like anti-vaxxers or whatever, but I feel like, did I get the real shot? Because I should have had something, but I didn't have anything.
You just had total placebo. It's just sugar water.
I was actually wondering, and so I never had symptoms. I mean, I don't think that I ever had COVID because I haven't seen people.
Yeah,
but I was wondering, if I already had it, if I had the antibodies, would I have had symptoms? Or I don't understand the science. Is there science there?
They're giving you the transcript for one of the proteins on the virus.
Okay.
So your body would have tried to fight it, but I don't know if you would have the antibodies already if you would have symptoms. I think that you would have felt a little weird. I'm not sure.
Because I'm thinking, if I was, and this is all just conjecture, and I don't want to call it worst case scenario, but if I was asymptomatic and already had the virus and had the antibodies from that,
yeah,
and then got the dose, I don't imagine that I would have had symptoms. I don't know. It's just a weird thing where I was the weird kind of conspiracy theories going through my head when I'm I should feel something in one of these, but no, maybe a little bit more tired on Saturday, but again, it's just because I don't sleep well during the week because I wake up early for work, and it's just, you know what I mean? I don't know how to actually gauge what's this versus another.
I was prepped mentally, physically, everything, but I told you I had the weird headaches thing and
right.
The first one, and so no, I think that maybe I was just good on the second one. So good luck to everyone that gets it. I think that I'm an anomaly. You're definitely an anomaly. So hopefully that we're actually in the large majority.
Even the woman who gave me the vaccine was you might this, just get ready for this one. I was all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That they warned me too. So I was mentally prepared from everyone that I heard of, and I got nothing. So cool.
Yep. Nope. What else you been up to in the last week?
Rachel and I watched WandaVision, and it's wonderful.
Are you caught up?
Yes. We're caught up to, I think, 5. I don't know when.
There have been 5.
Okay.
It comes out on Fridays. Yeah.
Okay, so we watched 5 of them.
I will not spoil it, but the 5th episode ends with a sort of a cameo appearance, right? A person arrives.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I watched all of them. I don't remember who it is. I'll, remember next time. We watched them in, a big chunk, so it's a blur. What else? Then this weekend was the Super Bowl. We watched the Super Bowl. I made wings. We made pizzas. Oh, Rachel made pretzels, soft pretzels from scratch.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then we had some like beer cheese. So we just spent like all weekend eating and doing nonsense. And I think that's pretty much it. That's all I've been up to. What about you?
Cool. I watched the Super Bowl. There's the Super Bowl ad that we have to talk about, which I don't know if it
Yes.
aired during the game because I
I
don't
didn't
think I
see it.
saw it. It
I
must
didn't
have been
see it either.
before. They put it on YouTube at like 5-ish Eastern. So like before the game, it was up. So I don't know if it was just like, because remember I was saying, I don't remember if I said this on air. I think I might have just sent it to you, but like I saw a thing on like Deadline or Hollywood Reporter or whatever that was like, don't expect a lot of commercials,
Yes.
like, you know, trailers this year because like
They didn't make any
movies are in a state
movies.
of flux.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like the banner image was Dom and Letty or Dom and Ramsey or something. And I was like, oh, and then it was just like from last year. So like, hey, like last year was all
Yep,
this stuff. Like
exactly.
they even had this whole event or whatever. And I was like, oh, right, yeah. But then like to see this new thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because I watched it again. I have
Same. I did
a
too.
list of notes, but like, yeah, the game was bad. I read a book while watching it because like the game was boring and the commercials were boring.
Yeah, it wasn't as exciting as some of them.
A phrase, and again, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast to you or not, but I've said to you for sure, like we in our fantasy baseball league, we say like a lot of baseball left. Like, you know, anything can happen. Like it's too early
Yeah.
to call. Like there's a lot
Yep.
of baseball left.
Yep.
And like the whole night, we're like a lot of football left. You know, this Mahomes, you can't count. But like the whole night, like there's like a little bit of shade and fraud. It's like, yeah, it just, it's fine. It's fine. Like the Chiefs are going to come back. It's like they never did, right?
And
Like, it
they
was just,
never
like,
did. No.
Like you could have watched the first quarter or whatever and been like, yeah, okay. And, you know, that was it. So unfortunate in that regard.
But in that sense, like I found it enjoyable in that sense because I didn't feel like it was over, so it didn't give me that like blowout
Sure, yeah, okay.
feeling, you know. Like so, even though the game wasn't close, I had hope that it was close. Like in my head, it was much closer than it was.
Yeah, there were a couple points like, you know, like the late third quarter, early fourth. You're like, okay, like if they score in this drive,
Yes.
they're within 2 scores, and then they didn't, and I'm like, all right, but there's still,
Yeah, but there's still time. That's what I'm
And then
saying.
you know Brady would have like a 5-minute drive that leads to a field goal. It's like, okay, yeah, but no, but there's still 3 scores, so that's fine. And then like, no, it just, you know, it was whatever. So
It was whatever, man.
big update. I've not told you yet, or the
What?
person who would care most about this, but I began watching Cobra Kai.
Oh.
I finally watched The Karate Kid for the first time. So like, there's a
Oh,
bunch of
nice.
movies that I had missed that I've talked about on here, like just, you know,
Yeah.
pop culture touchstones. This is one where I feel like, you know, I know wax on, wax off, and I know like catching the fly with the chopsticks and whatever,
Yeah.
but like so much of this, I'm like, oh, I've never. Like none of this is in my brain. Like I didn't know anything about anything. So like it was very cool. I love the movie. I'm only 3 episodes into the show because I'm doing one a day, and I don't want to prejudge it, but I'm not thrilled with it yet, but it's still very
Okay.
early. I think the big issue is that, you know, some people have 30 years of nostalgia, and I had like 30 hours, like literally.
Nostalgia's a big factor in these things,
Yeah,
man.
it's, you know, I'm going through it. It's very watchable. I just, you know, I'm not super invested yet. I finished Patriot on Amazon Prime, which is great.
What is it?
Patriot. It was a
Oh.
2-season Amazon show about a spy who has to go undercover to do like basically to pass off a bag of money to help influence a foreign election, and things go
Okay.
wrong. And it's great. That's on Amazon.
Is it only 2 seasons? It's over.
It got canceled, yeah. But it ends in a great way. Like, it's a very
Okay, cool.
satisfying ending. I don't remember if I said it on here or not, but I was juggling the 5 shows, and I cut it down to 3 because I'm like, I'm just not invested in these shows enough to the point. And like, you know, I'm not binging. I'm still doing one a day, but it's like, it wasn't too much to keep up with. It was just too much to like, it was too long between episodes for me to build momentum on like things that I knew that I could watch all in a row or whatever. And so
Yeah.
I cut out a couple of them for now. I'm going to get back to them shortly, but I'm watching The OA, I'm watching The Haunting of Hill House, and I'm rewatching The Leftovers. And I'm very excited because tonight, after we're done recording, the episode of my schedule or whatever is one of my favorite and one of the best episodes of The Leftovers is International Assassin, which if you'll remember,
Tell me.
spoilers, if you have not seen The Leftovers, skip ahead. It's the one where Kevin dies and has to go to the afterlife to kill Patty Levin. And like, it's the dream sequence kind of, and he sings karaoke, and it's like super weird and surreal and just wonderful. It's one of like the 2 or 3 absolute best episodes of that show, and it's amazing. And that's tonight, so I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
The OA is getting good. I'm into that. I'm nearing the end of the first season. And The Haunting of Hill House, I really came around, and I'm like, I think, and that's why I don't want to prejudge Cobra Kai, because like, I thought the beginning of Hill House was not good. Maybe a victim of hype, because everyone's like, this is the best horror
Yeah.
thing you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And obviously I watch a lot of horror, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is not great. And like it's weird and like I don't get what they're doing because they're juggling. Did you watch it or did you guys not watch it?
I did. I think maybe Rachel watched it, but I didn't.
So the weird thing about it is that it's based on the book The Haunting of Hill House, which is written by Shirley Jackson. There's a movie called Shirley that came out last year where Elizabeth Moss plays Shirley Jackson, this like, reclusive kind of crazy author. She writes this book, The Haunting of Hill House. But in the show, there's a dude. So the interesting thing about the show is there's two timelines. There's like when they move into this haunted house as kids, like the 5 main kids, and then there's like I guess modern day. So like every actor has like a kid version and then the adult version. So like that's a lot to juggle. There's 2 timelines. Like it's not hard to tell apart, but like it's doing things. It's telling a story in a very, what I did not realize at first, like a very confident way. But it's like I don't really follow what's going on. Eventually you're like, oh, I see what they're doing. Like they're laying all this groundwork, but like coming from the outside plus the victim of hype, I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't get it. And so eventually there's episodes like I think 5 and 6, which if you look at IMDb, like at the average ratings, like they're like in the 8s or whatever, then these are like 9.5. Like they're, really, really good. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, like I get what the show is doing now. And so it's only like, it's a anthology show. So like there's 10 episodes and it's done. So I don't know if the second season is different characters. I'm assuming it is. I don't know if it's different actors. I don't know. But I'm nearing the end of that and I really like that. So I'm at a point where I could recommend that. The OA, I'm still a little bit like, still waiting to see where that goes. And then, of course, Cobra Kai, too early. But, too early TV thing is coming along.
Good, that's awesome. And you're still doing Seinfeld and Simpsons anyways, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Simpsons is like already now, like almost every episode's a home run. Seinfeld, I am struggling. But it's still early. It's still really early. Like I've done like 37 episodes maybe, and like 30 of them have been Simpsons just because of the way the schedule aligns. So like I'm way deeper in the Simpsons, but like it's great. And like I have faith that Seinfeld will rebound, but there are episodes, and I don't want to be snobbish, but there's episodes early on where I'm like, I'm not laughing. Like there's like, I'm trying to find like a joke to put on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't, like it just isn't working for me yet. But I know like the Chinese restaurant, which I don't know what it's about, is soon. Like that's I think in season 2. So like I know that that's a thing. I don't know what it's about, but I know that's coming soon. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah, the Chinese restaurant episode is very good. Yes.
Yeah, there's only a handful. Like I know, and again I don't know the context, but I know that one.
What's in the season 2?
Like the one, there's like the pony remark where he like, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like it's just.
What is it? My grandmother had a pony.
No, like who would ever like only like no one would like ponies, and she's like, I rode a pony, and then she dies the next day or something like that. He's like, how could I know that she liked the pony? They have to go to a funeral or whatever.
Yes.
It's not bad, but I'm like, I gotta like it feels like I know it's a show about nothing, but like it really feels it in a way that I'm like, I'm not enjoying hanging out with these characters yet. I might eventually. I hope I will.
Oh, did you watch the jacket one?
I saw the jacket one. Yes. Is that a big one?
No, but that one's that they play on syndication a lot.
Okay.
Oh, and the next one is, did you watch the phone message?
I saw that. I did not like that one.
Did you see that was like a commercial in the Super Bowl though?
I know. I saw George was in like there's the Jason Alexander hoodie. I don't know if I saw the phone message commercial though. Was it the same one or is it a different one?
Oh no, it might be a different episode. Sorry. I'm just like reading the description.
The phone message. This is the one where like George is in love with a woman. He leaves her like a series of increasingly crazy messages on her answering machine, and then like has to tap Jerry's help to like go and switch the tape out because he finds out because she eventually calls him and is like, I'd love to hang out, and he's like, she can't hear these messages, and then they go through this whole rigmarole, and she's like, I played the messages, I love them, you're so funny, and then like whatever. So it's fine. Like it's I get it. Like,
I'm looking through the season 2 ones, and there's not like a ton that's like I have to read a description. Like I can't tell what the episode's about by the title, so that's not a good sign.
I do want to like I don't think we covered on here, but like last week we were talking about like I was like it's the one where George wants to break up with a woman and then Jerry dates her. You're like that's every episode. I'm like no, but like that's literally all that happens. You're like it can't be. I'm like no, but like it is. And then like I sent you the IMDb description. It's like George breaks up with a woman. It's just like like there's nothing goes on. So
that's
like
every episode.
I get that nothing goes on, but so like I can't describe it better because there's nothing happening.
Yeah, there's always like one. I think that season 3 will pick up a lot more steam, hopefully.
My friend said, so my friend who's watching most of these along with me, I think it's either 7 or 8. He said is one of his favorite all-time favorite seasons of comedy TV, because like there's some kind of like runner that goes through the entire season. So like that's a long ways off. Like that's going to be October, November. But like, but I'm not going to bail. Like I might complete this brain. Like if I'm not into it by like 4 or 5, like then maybe we'll readjust. But I'm going to give it a while.
I don't think that you'll because you're not even at the like when they get into stride yet. So. Yeah, when you told me, like, the episode was George wants to break up with his girlfriend, I'm like, cool. That's, like, every single
Yeah, but, like, I guess that's what happens, right? It's, like, eventually that'll just become, like, a plot where, like, another crazy thing happens or whatever. But, like, exactly. If that's the only thing that's happening, it's like, yeah, like, what else, though, right? Like,
I agree, yeah.
Or you're like, is it the one where Kramer has a fruit stand? I'm like, no, he just has a piece of fruit. Like, that's just, like, it's not a thing. It's just, like, a little thing. And, like, I get that you build and get crazier or whatever, but, like, I'm like, no, like, there's not more happen. Like I'm not trying to like downplay what happens on the show. Like there's literally nothing happening. So but it is what it is. So it's fine.
Yeah.
We have an email address here on the show. No, it's Patreon. Hello. We have a Patreon page on the show. TooFast2Forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, and Too Fast, Too Forever After Dark. Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato DiDonato, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all so very much for supporting the $5 level or above. You all have the ability to listen to our Varsity Blues episode. I will say that we have
fucking great, man.
We have not picked up any new patrons since we've been teasing that. So like people, like you're still the cool kids. Like you're the ones who get it. You're the ones who know, and you're the only ones who will ever know. So.
That was like again, like Rachel and I made Rachel listen to that episode. Well, like she chose to listen to it. I put it on.
You didn't like a Clockwork Orange her with her ears, just like leave the ears open with the pins.
I stapled AirPods into the side of her head.
Hell yeah!
Just turned it on. No, but I played it and she was dying. But she obviously knows us and Brian. So Wes wrote in and said that he liked it, so that was good too.
That's good. I hope.
Message us.
To people who heard that episode and also heard the Fast and Furious episode, my mic should be better now. I bought another very expensive piece of technology that like. Should make it better, but I think it's good now. So we'll see.
It sounds really good tonight. It does.
So yeah, I mean, whether or not all this crazy tech was worth it more than the $25 headset I was using, I don't know. But here we are.
It's so funny that that you bought all this stuff. And I'm sure that like if we started out, it would sound like really good, but because we had the like existence of like all of this backlog of like my brain listening to your voice the way it was behind the scenes, you and I have just been trying to get it to sound more like that.
I know. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
So it's like you spent all this money to like upgrade. Arguably, maybe that does sound better, but like we're just trying, like you're just doing an expensive
What settings
way.
Sound like exactly the same as it was? Like, how could people know that there's no difference? It's like, that shouldn't be the goal, but No,
it's not. I think arguably though, it's just like, what we were trying to do, like brightness and like not make it so sensual, is probably for the best for just speaking. I'm sure that you now have a microphone that could do lots of other cool vocal things.
I think this is largely for podcasters though. Like I think that like this is like the more affordable version of like a really crazy high end. Like $250 for a microphone is still a lot, but like
that's a lot, yeah.
This is like the affordable version of like this like pro microphone. The adapter that I got is flexible, that like if I wanted to like record myself playing guitar, which by the way I cannot play, or like if you were here or Mike was here or whatever, we were recording a podcast, like it has 2 inputs, like that's all good. But it's like for what we're doing here, where you're still on a headset and I'm still compressing the shit out of it when I edit on Audacity, it's like I don't know if this was worth it, but if it's fine. I think it made my boss happy that I bought it, even though it's not his money. I don't know. I got nothing. We have an email address, family@cageclub.me. And we got 3 emails today. One from Jason, which is about the trailer, but we're going to talk about that later. So, Jason, thank you for emailing in, but we'll cover that in the news section.
Perfect.
And then 2 from Jerry. First one, epic moments per all Fast movies, in my opinion.
Okay.
Although he does not include Hobbs and Shaw or Tokyo Drift, so not all, but most. So he says, hey guys, currently listening to Lap 8 Fast and Furious, which was our most recent episode, the one that came out yesterday as we record this. Got me thinking of every satisfying moment in my opinion. Let me know if you agree. So he said the first movie, Lance being run off the road by Dom as revenge for Jesse. He says Lance was so annoying to me, justice for Jesse.
Lance is a character that really grew on me the more that we did the minute.
Yep.
When you broke him down. So I do like the moment, but I don't find Lance annoying like when you watch him in very, very tight segments, he's honestly one of the best characters in the movie.
It's a beautiful machine.
It's a beautiful machine. You gotta you gotta like twitch. Like you have to have some head rattle in there where you're like your neck muscles are just like so tense.
Like, you know, in a movie full of lines that are either iconic or lines that we could consider iconic just because we've seen that movie so many times, but like 40 weight sounds nice. Like just like these little kind of throwaway things that like nobody thinks of. But yeah, Lance is a great character.
Yeah.
Too Fast, the scramble. I didn't expect it. And it's where one of my favorite lines was born. Ejecto Cedo, cuz, and you did the steer and drive.
Those are two great lines, and the scramble was really cool. I remember watching it in theaters, and I didn't expect it either, so I'm with you.
Fast forward, Dom killing Phoenix and calling him a pussy. This is a trend that will return, I will tell you that much. Not once, but twice, because he is. If someone did that to my significant other, I'd be wanting revenge, too.
I agree. That word makes me very cringy.
Because I'll just skip ahead for Fast 6 now. Letty calling the big brute team pussy. So
You know people don't like the word like moist. It just has bad mouthfeel for me.
You know, that's in Cobra Kai. Johnny uses it all the time.
Really?
All the time. Yeah. Have you seen that show or you don't remember?
No, I didn't watch Cobra Kai. Yeah.
So I was talking about it with my friend because he teaches a course on media and like critical theory to media and applying critical theory to media or whatever, pop culture. He was talking about like he had a whole bunch of notes about like how he behaves and how it's like typically or stereotypically masculine, but like he's like an 80s bully in modern day whatever, but like he uses the word pussy. Like, don't be a pussy. Come on, you want to be a pussy? It's like, guy, like it's like I get what you're doing, but it's also like, ew.
This is one of these things that I wonder if we are gonna run that word out and then you're gonna watch stuff and it's gonna feel very dated hearing it.
There was a thing that came around a couple years ago where it's like, you know, you should want to be called a pussy because like it's the most like elastic and strongest and whatever, right?
Yes,
like it's
yes.
That whole like movement went away too, right? So like it's not like people are trying to reclaim it. It's just like let's just not use it. Let's not attribute weakness to the female body. Like, and
that's
people
fair.
have not gotten the memo.
It always gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's not a word that I hear too much.
Yeah, it's all over. At least the early goings in Cobra Kai. Yeah. Fast 5, I skipped over that. Pretty obvious. Hobbs putting Bullet in Reyes. That was from my team, you son of a bitch.
Good move.
Furious 7, Brian saying too slow. And then Fate of the Furious, Dom planning his revenge on Cypher as a whole.
Those are good moments. Epic moments, I think.
Do you have, if you had to pick one, I guess pick one for Hobbs and Shaw, because he didn't do Hobbs and Shaw. Do you have one for Hobbs and Shaw? Or Tokyo Drift, either one.
I think the double head punch at the end of Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, yeah, where they actually learn to work together?
Yes, like the 360 shot, the double head punch, Hobbs, Jason Statham and The Rock working together, the meaning of it, them being on the island. I think that's it.
Cool.
What about you? What do you got? You got one for Tokyo Drift?
Han doing the donuts to get the girl's number is pretty iconic.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, anything with Han, right? It's just, this is my Mexico.
I like it's what is it? It's money I have. It's loyalty and friends
overlooking that soccer field, right?
Yeah, when he's like the montage on top, yeah.
And then Jerry writes in the email called Varsity Blues. I have a lot to say. Peanut butter on pancakes is so good. At Denny's for a limited time, they had 2 big pancakes with peanut butter and chocolate sauce on it. Oof. Says my best friend Jason, I would always have and thought whoever invented this must have been high off his ass. And it was awesome until they stopped doing it.
You could do it though. That's not like a hard one, bud. Like we could, pancakes at home is easy. And you got like peanut butter, get some Nutella or get some just Nutella because it's essentially chocolate and peanut butter mixed together.
Yeah.
I like crepes a lot. Nutella is like a notorious crepe thing.
Yeah.
And like whenever we go to Europe, I eat a lot of Nutella crepes.
Jerry says, time for football. Fuck Tom Brady. He'll never be the GOAT. Hashtag Joe Montana. No matter if he's from the Bay Area, the Bay doesn't want him.
Oh, I told you.
Yep.
I came around, man. I don't like Tom Brady. Not a fan of his personal life or his things, but like you can't argue a 7, man. It's hard to argue. And he went to a new team during COVID, new coach, all new players, and wins again.
And makes it look easy.
It makes it look easy. Like I at the beginning of the season, I was saying this is all Bill Belichick. Wild Bill's the truth. The Patriots are fine. It scares the shit out of me. Tom Brady was overrated. Today, no, man. He ruined the whole Patriots dynasty by leaving, in my opinion, because I think that like nobody's gonna look back and be like, oh, remember those 6 Super Bowls the Patriots won? They're gonna be like, those 6 Super Bowls Tom Brady won.
And like, at the end of the game, they had up the Brady 7 Super Bowls, Steelers 6, Patriots 6. But it's like you can't really compare him to the Patriots because like that's all him. That
was all him too. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And this is one of my friends asked me. They were like, "Are you mad Antonio Brown got a ring?" And I'm like, No, not in this instance at all, because nobody's going to look back at this Super Bowl and be like, man, without Antonio Brown, they wouldn't have won that. No, they would have won no matter what. Like, it didn't really fucking matter. And it was all Tom Brady. So, like, nobody's looking back going, like, Antonio Brown's first Super Bowl. What a great. Like, no. And mostly it was, like, Gronk coming out of retirement, too. So I've let it go, all that emotion go. So I'm sorry. We had Terry Bradshaw with 4.
Yep.
You had Joe Montana with 4. And, like, I get it, different eras, different times, but 7's hard to argue with, bud. Like, that's almost double at this point. Like, we gotta, I don't know.
Can't wait for Kirk Cousins to win 8 and to shut everybody up.
Well, that's what somebody was saying. Like, I was watching McAfee. They're like, everybody's like, man, Pat Mahomes, like, Tony Romo's talking like Mahomes got to win 8 now. Like that's a fucking mountain to climb. Like there was 4, now there's 8, and he went to like 1 every other year his whole career, and he got to play, and Mahomes got to play for another 20 years.
That might be harder than winning 8. It's like staying healthy for 20.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like all of it is crazy. So
staying healthy and driven for 20, right? So.
Yeah. And you got paid too, so you already got money. Like you're gonna be famous. Like to still be like, I still want to go do this. Like I don't want to go to work on Friday, and that's 5 days later. 20 years? Like I don't know, man.
Not eating strawberries either. Jerry says I've never watched Varsity Blues, but I did see Not Another Teen Movie with Captain America Chris Evans.
Yes.
He says Bucky should have gotten the shield instead. Well, if you saw the trailer during the Super Bowl, Bucky does have the shield for at least for one shot. So there you go. My high school was never like Varsity Blues, and our women's basketball, men's soccer, and cross country always shined. Football-wise, we sucked. I remember having a prep rally being tied with then Mayor Gavin Newsom donating $250,000 to upgrade our football field just to have our asses kicked the next day during the home opener 42-7. Whew. Our football team sucked until now. They won a championship a few years ago. I remember a game where the opponents didn't show up, forfeiting the game to us, and they still made the playoffs with an 11-2 record, and I laughed my ass off since I didn't care about the football team and would be like Brian Rodriguez clowning the football team because the best players we had when I was in school were the kicker and the guard. I do like that as a real like flex that like, oh yeah, we're not going to show up because like it's not even worth our time to travel. Like we know we're going to beat you. So like just take the win and we'll see you. Actually, we won't see you in the playoffs. So
it's definitely sitting your players week 17, right? When you're like, oh yeah, you're not making the playoffs. Like I don't even fucking care if I win this game. But worse than that, because you're like, I'm not even arriving.
Not worth the time, not worth the effort. Jerry says the coach offered me to play because I then had a stronger arm than all the QBs and better accuracy, but I really didn't want to. I was a beast in soccer though, being a defender. He says that's all I got for now. Be safe and be fast. Ooh, soccer Jerry.
Soccer Jerry.
Jerry was a soccer player. He kicked so goddamn fast. Do you know the Primus song?
No, I don't.
Oh, actually, it's from Tony Hawk game. You've probably heard it a million times.
I probably did then. Sorry.
Jerry was a race car driver. He drove so goddamn fast. Or he went so goddamn fast.
I don't know the songs off the top of my head, but when I like listen to them, I know all the words to all of them. Like you have to play them like in the context. Like once I hear them, I'm like, oh yeah, this is from Tony Hawk.
That's all the emails. If you want to email us, family@cageclub.me, we'll read it on the next episode, which astute listeners will know as Fast Five. It's not really a surprise because we alternate these. So
yeah.
Next week, Fast Five with Heather, but we will read the email then. Family@cageclub.me. I also have big news, Joe, that Montez emailed last week her review. By the way, Montez's birthday tomorrow as we record. She's not going to hear this for months or weeks at least.
But
so
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Montez. But her review last week did post under the name anonymous_032020. So
sick.
Thank you, Anonymous. 5-star rating. This podcast has it all. She says food debates, car descriptions, random life updates, and of course, discussing movies. So I was like, I think this is Montez, but I don't know for sure. And then this next sentence is what sold the deal, other than, she told us. These guys have it all. They're an instant mood lifter if you're having a trash day. And I'm like, no one uses trash as an adjective as often or as specifically as Montez. And so if you're not subscribed and listening to this podcast, you're not living. Well, thank you, Montez. That's perfect.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a strong proponent of saying that this thing is trash. That person is trash.
But you don't say like trash person. You're like that person's trash. Like it's a different like.
No, I say garbage person. I say garbage person. I think garbage rolls off the tongue better in the person sense. But I say like this is trash or that's a garbage person.
It was a trash movie. Like she uses the word trash like specifically, not garbage. She trash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I use garbage more. That's right.
That's all the emails though. Family@cageclub.me. If you want to leave a review, if you've not left a review yet, go to Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a review. I don't know the other platforms accept reviews. I don't know, but 5 stars review, please. And thank you, Joe. On the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. So I got two things before we get to the big thing, of course.
What?
But today, as this episode comes out, so Tuesday the 16th, on NBC is the first episode of Young Rock.
Oh, nice.
And I did not know the premise of it. I knew that it was about his growing up, but it begins in the year 2032, where Dwayne Johnson is running for president.
Ha 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 ha.
So
I didn't know that either. That's
maybe
really
a
funny.
look forward, but yes. So I don't know how much he's in it. Obviously, he's a producer. I think he's credited, so he'll be in, the modern day stuff or whatever. But tonight, Young Rock. Also, next Thursday, as this comes out, or for us in 2 weeks, on the Discovery Plus app, which I know that everybody has. But actually, like if you like HGTV and Food Network stuff like this, is actually it's like $5 or whatever.
Do you get it with your subscription, or do you have to pay for it?
I think you have to pay for it, but it's going to be worth it when I tell you that on Thursday the 25th, there was a show called Luda Can't Cook, a cooking show with Ludacris.
I like cooking shows. I feel like cooking shows are like the celebrity perfumes of television.
How so?
That's what they give you if you're like, I want to do a TV show. They're just like, just do a cooking show.
Yeah, like there's a...
Selena
Which I want to watch. I want to check out, Selena plus Chef. It's like, okay, yeah. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. It's like, it's a second season. I was like, how did I not even know there's a first season?
I do like, and I've watched the Martha and Snoop ones. And like, then you have like Chopped and stuff like that. And like, I like Top Chef. Chef's Table on Netflix. Like, I watch like a lot of these, but like now I feel like getting your own cooking show. Oh, you know what fucking did it for me? It was Bert Kreischer doing one on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that feels like Bert and like Bert's people just like, what can we do? It's like, I don't know, cooking. Like you just do weird shit like cooking. I guess. Yeah.
When Bert came out with the cooking one, and my friends were like, "Do you want to watch? Like, you should watch the Bert cook." I was like, no. That's where I draw the line. And I love Bert, and I love cooking shows.
If you told me Bert is doing X, like nothing you say would surprise me, but also nothing feels like he should be doing it. If that makes any sense. It's like, yeah, I can see him doing that, but like he shouldn't be. But like, no matter what you say, it's like, oh yeah, okay. Like, unless you're like he's on stage taking his shirt off, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get like that feels on brand.
Yeah, that's
but
on
like,
brand.
you'd be like, I don't know, he's really into birds now. I'm like, oh, okay, like he shouldn't be, but like, yeah, sure. What, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's like dog sledding. It's like, yeah, I get it, but like, why?
He's the host of that show. Like, what is it, like the Big Show or something? Did you see this? Like,
no,
previews?
I feel like our TV watching is in completely different orbits.
They are. I thought you would see commercials for it because it was on like fucking everywhere.
I don't think I watch anything with commercials other than the Super Bowl. And I don't think the Big Show is paying $5.5 million to advertise, but maybe.
They might. It's on like NBC or like CBS or something. It's like two people come and they do like two crazy stunts. And it's like him and like Rosario Dawson was on an episode and like Snoop was on an episode.
Oh, the Go Big Show?
Yes, whatever.
It's on TBS. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is owned by CBS, so like they could have aired. They could have.
I felt like I saw it on CBS. Yeah. It's another one of these shows, like you were saying. Bert's doing this, and you're like, Bert's hosting this. And you're like, yeah, should he be?
Yeah. But of course, speaking of ads, this is our ads. That's not even a New Jersey accent. I don't know what that was. But the big one, of course, is that we teased it earlier, the 30-second Super Bowl, 30 seconds, like as in time, not the 32nd as a number, 30-second TV ad, the big game ad for F9. And there's a lot going on in these 30 seconds.
It's cut so fucking fast for people to not watch it like I'm sure you and I just did.
Like, I think I paused it like 45 times in 30 seconds. I'm like, okay, oh yeah, got it. Okay, got to write this down. I have literally 8 notes, 8 major things that happen. Like, I sent it to my friend who like likes these movies, but like obviously is not invested in the way.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I don't like it's. I didn't learn anything new from it. I'm like, oh, I have so much new from this. But what's your big takeaway?
We get a shot of an actual racetrack that looks like it's probably in a time period before the time period.
Which we knew that they were filming at.
Yes, and feels like this is the Daddy Dom backstory, right?
Uh-huh.
The second one, it looks like they're possibly using a rental truck as a magnet to suck
is that the thing? Is that the car on the end that goes on its side and smashes through like a series of buildings? Yes.
Yes, because he's like turn it all the way up and he has like a dial and then like it gets sucked to the side of the truck. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably like this magnet truck. and that looks really interesting.
Breaking Bad did it. Well, guys, what about like a really big magnet?
Yeah.
But guys,
Yeah.
like what about like a really big magnet? But like that's like a super magnet, right? Like that's like to pull you through an entire building. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
actually know how you could.
There's also like in that same scene, like a building collapses somewhere, which I guess is not really a spoiler
Yeah,
because
I
like
saw that.
shit breaks. The big thing, my big takeaway number one was that they are rebuilding 1327, and they've got it beautiful. Like they have like the wood, like they have it
Yes.
framed, and they've got a nice big picture window in front. So I'm hoping instead of having a window there, they just have a big old like horse painting just staring out into the street. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
That would be nice. Yes, we do get 1327 back, which is awesome. There's a lot of people at the table. Jason was sending us pictures of people at the table. Ben posted asking us who was at the table.
The one thing that Jason noticed that I would never notice because I'm not into cars, but in that shot when they're pulling into 1327, he says it looks like it's Brian's Skyline from the fourth movie. So I don't know who's
Yes.
driving that, but I don't know if anybody noticed this. I'm sure Jason did because it can't get anything by him. Did you see that Sean is in the backyard?
No, I saw a picture that somebody posted that had Twinkie in the backyard, and I was like, this doesn't look real. It was just like photoshopped of like.
So I can't confirm that it's Sean, but there's like it's like reunions or like there, there's like all these like different moments or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see Han giving a guy a hug, and like it's like a quarter of a second. I had to pause this so many times, but like I can't think of anybody who would have a receding hairline quite like Sean.
Our
Like,
man.
you don't see his face, you just see the back of his head, but like, that means Sean's back in America. That means like shit is serious, right? So
Yeah. And you get, what is it, Rico Ortega sitting at the table, like Don Omar is there or whatever.
it's a huge table. Like the family gets bigger, the table gets bigger. That is a big, big table.
It'll be cool. I'm curious to see how this goes. Like, there was like a lot of people. Ramsey has new hair, which was cool.
Oh, there is a shot where Han is driving and Mia is his passenger, which I think that's kind of a cool, like one of them lost a love in the movie, and one of them, lost a love kind of sort of in a way, like in real life, right? So like it's a car of loss.
Oh, good. I thought for a second, I was like, please, God, don't give them a love story. But in the franchise, Brian's still alive somewhere.
Right,
So
yeah.
that's...
And I think the only other thing to note, which we knew, was that it looks like, Helen Mirren maybe driving like a lamp, like a purple something. Do you know what kind of car that was? Because I don't.
No, I didn't. I'm sure that it's like some new super fun hypercar that I just didn't recognize it. Maybe it's a McLaren. Would make sense, right? She's English.
And she's, driving on the right side of the, she's in the American passenger seat, the British driver's seat, and she pulls like a 180 or whatever and just like laughs or whatever. So, but yeah, like 30 seconds, there's like 8 kind of huge things. I mean, huge for us.
There was like a stormtroopers through the forest type situation going on where
Yes.
like Letty hits a tree too, which was weird.
Oh, I still do love, I mean, we knew from the original trailer, but I love this Letty haircut, like the kind of short, the mid-length action style.
Ooh, yeah,
Looking good. Looking
She
good,
does look
Michelle.
great. She looks great, yeah.
But I think that's all. Anything else you remember from the trailer?
No, I think we hit pretty much all the things.
Every frame, basically. Any other news that you've seen or no?
No, other than the thing that I said, Jason sent us a thing that was like, I forget what the fuck was the name of the article.
Oh, with the rocket or whatever?
Yeah, that's not real at all, right?
No, so like Jason sent a picture where...
No, he sent an article.
Oh, about how Hobbs is coming back for 10.
Yes.
And in there, or linked from there, there's a bunch of pictures. And there's this picture on Screen Rant or whatever. Dom at a car in front of a rocket going to outer space, and it says Fast 9. And you're like, this looks like Crossroads and space. And I was like, there's no way. Like, maybe it's real. I doubt that it's real because the font looks wrong. But like, they would not, until we see
a trailer
in a
with it,
trailer
right?
or in the movie with
Yeah.
a rocket ship, like space isn't happening. Like they can say it all they want and like maybe it's happening, but like they're not going to reveal that in
Also, this rocket
image.
looks identical to the one in Crossroads. That's what
Yeah.
was freaked me out the most. I was like, and when we talked to Andy, he was like, "Oh, we needed to do something like bigger."
Right.
And like he knew the script of Fast 9, so like why would Fast 9 have been like, "Oh yeah, a rocket, cool, just do the same thing we're doing in the movie in a different place at a different time."
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. So that's all the news. I guess we on release watch, we are still May 28th.
But they're still saying it's May 28th, but I'm
Well, so
skeptical.
yesterday as this comes out, or Monday as we're recording this, I think HTML is they're re-coming back, Nico and Kevo relaunching their podcast with another State of the MCU. They've done this, I think, twice now already. This is going to be the third one. Where they just kind of do like a rundown of like what's going on with the movies and TV shows and whatever.
Okay,
and
cool.
Kevo, being Kevo, basically me, but like even more research oriented, has this entire like document that he made, like this image that he made with like every movie and every release date and the director and the producers and the writers and the stars and whatever. Like this whole thing. I'm like, cool. Like what happens when COVID hits this? He's like, and he's like, I I don't think it's going to get delayed. Like, I don't think I'm like, but what about Widow? Like, Widow's in May too, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know that Disney's going to be like, hey, yeah, everybody, like, vaccine rollout not going great, like, go to theaters, right? So I don't know.
And also, they're not going to be like, Widow near May can go on Disney Plus. Like, we're not trying to get those theater dollars.
Right. Like, if it was going to go on Disney Plus, it would have gone Disney Plus last year, right?
Yeah.
Like, everything
Yeah.
that's got pushed to this year is going to be in theaters, and
Yeah.
hopefully F9 in theaters, but hopefully when it's safe. I don't know. Still May 28th as of right now, though. Memorial
Good luck.
Day weekend. Joe, the final thing to do before we take a break is the Fast and the Furious minute 3 of the Turbo Charged Prelude, a minute I called Girl. In this minute, Brian places an order at the diner and catches Girl's eye. I'm using Girl because that's all Minka Kelly is credited as.
Yes.
So that's her character's name as far as I'm concerned. Catches Girl's eye as he hides from law enforcement officers who enter. Brian quickly leaves and drives away. Brian changes and packs his things as he sees a news report about himself on TV. Brian gets ready to flee the motel, but sees cops at his car. He bumps into Girl.
Oh.
Brian walks down the street and hails a ride as a hitchhiker. Girl picks him up, and they drive away, still in the San Antonio area, which I'll get back to in a second. Girl drops Brian off at a used car dealership as the minute ends. So, like, last minute, you said that everything took place in California, but I was like, they started in, like, Santa Fe, and they're still in Santa Fe. Like, this minute started in San Antonio and still ends in San Antonio. It's
Different
now
sides
day.
of-
It's like goes back to the map, and it's like it's night when she picks him up, and now it's day. But like they're just outside town. Like it's like what? I guess they don't trust anybody to watch it like we're watching it because like they don't care about continuity.
So the last minute ended at the diner. I was watching it. I was like looking for cool diner distinction things, and there's fucking nothing distinguishing in this diner. Like nothing. No, like I really looked like usually you get like a goofy painting, like something interesting.
Because there's goofy paintings in this minute. Don't you worry.
There is goofy paintings in this minute, but like that was diner. Like just every diner you imagine in your head, it was just diner.
Okay, so then here I'm gonna change the minute to girl at diner.
Perfect.
It's like noun, common noun, girl, diner, car, cop, motel.
Yeah, so we see the cops, and I'm like, okay, cool, and they have name tags on and badges.
Yeah,
can't read them. Couldn't get anything out of that.
Nope.
So I was like, okay, cool.
And there's like 8 different people in that. Like, there's a bunch of extras that I made notes of because like I stopped taking clothing notes for extras in the first movie because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this is taking me like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, for the 6-minute thing, I can do this. And like, they're all just like guy in
T-shirt.
black shirt, woman in blue shirt,
Yep.
guy with cowboy hat. It's like, yeah, okay. Nothing even remotely as interesting as woman in a custom Diamondbacks jersey that's deep V cut. Like, nobody else cares. Nobody cares.
No.
I do think, though, that these are probably, like, 2 officers that come in here are probably the ones that are credited. Remember, we're like, there's the 2 people on IMDb who are credited or, like, uncredited as cops. Like, I think it's probably these dudes, like, because, like, they're the only ones that we see, I think, like, up close and personal.
Yeah. And I think that we should steal their IMDb credits still.
Well, no, because they're the only people that we can't. We can do literally anyone else. Like, we could be the people in the diner, right? Like, they're the ones that we can't.
At this point, I look like guy in black t-shirt wearing hat.
With is that the guy with Well, there's a guy kind of like a Santa Claus beard, sort of, in a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
There's one couple at the diner that are like sitting diagonally from each other, like it's like a booth for 4, but she's on the outside and he's on the inside across the table. And I'm like, are you waiting on someone or are you just like sitting really weird? Like, they're not like, I don't know.
Rachel and I talk about this a lot. The sitting on the same side of a diner booth seat is so strange to us. We see it sometimes.
It's very romantic.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. After dark. If you had like a whole side of space.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Can you please describe, and there's one other thing I want to point out, but can you please describe the wonderful art that you made note of in the hotel room?
Yes. So Brian's in hotel room 121 that apparently doesn't allow dogs.
So this is not the hotel for dogs.
Like an oil painting. It's like an old school like oil painting, it feels like. But it's it has like a little bit of like surrealism to it. It's not like, an exact painting. And it's just watermelon slices, lemons, bananas, and pears.
Cool.
If you had them all in a grocery bag and then you like dumped the bag out onto your counter, that's how it's posed.
It's 4 fruits that have everything to do with, like, there's one that you bite into, one that you peel, one that you don't eat, and then one that you have to cut. So it's like, 4 the same, 4 birds of a feather.
Yeah, but you saw the painting though, right? Like, I was thinking like maybe like some of the watermelon slices are papayas, but then there's like seeds in the one, and I'm like,
I don't know, man.
These look like watermelon triangles. Like and the watermelon's the only thing that's cut.
Very weird. The other thing I wanted to point out, and this is something that you made note of, but girl at diner is wearing an oval necklace, like a beige oval necklace with a blue butterfly, and she's got like this white halter top on, but then, or like a tank top or whatever, but then when we're at the motel, she's wearing what I can only describe as like what looks to be like lingerie, but like full chest line. Like it's like this very like sheer, low cut, like looks like a bra, but then she walks away and like it's a full shirt, but she's got no necklace. So like, in a franchise with necklace continuity, it's like, girl, where is your necklace?
No, but she seems like she's going to the ice machine at night in the motel.
Alone. Yeah, this is sketchy.
So no, but she like, what were you trying to say she's a pro over here?
No. I'm saying that she's in danger.
Yeah, she is in danger, but I'm saying like, she was done for the day. Like she took her necklace off, took her earrings out. She's like, I'm just gonna go grab some ice. I want like a water before bed.
But she's in like a jean skirt. Like it's like that's not what you wear to be comfortable. She's the type of girl, and this is maybe I'm adding on her Lila Garrity from Friday Night Lights, but like it's like I picture that kind of girl, named girl, wearing like not gym shorts, but like the short, like I don't know how like it's just cotton shorts. Yeah, but just like that's just what that kind of girl
with like
wears.
The white piping along the bottom. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
But this is just like jean skirt. It's like that's not what? Like she's formal, but she's like without jewelry. I don't know. I don't get it.
She probably like was walking around in her underwear, was like, I have to go get ice, threw her jean skirt back on because it was on the ground, and then went to go get the ice. Guess
so. Runs into the future love of her life, which she will never see again. She'll drop him off and be out of his life forever.
Yeah.
I want her to come back. Where's Girl?
Yeah.
Why isn't Girl at the backyard barbecue in 9? They're like, who is she? It's like, oh yeah, she picked me up. Oh, I guess Brian's not around. Like
Mia would be pissed. This is somebody that Brian would have to pretend he doesn't know if they ran into in a gas
I don't think that
somewhere.
Brian would remember her. There's no reason. Like, she remembers. Because, like...
Brian would definitely... She picks him up on the side of the road. They're staying at the same motel. They make eye contact 15 times and presumably hook up.
I'm thinking about it like, she would remember him because maybe it's a fantasy of hers, like, I'm helping the bad boy. Like, he's a wanted felon and I'm going to help him. Maybe, I'm just trying to think, like, he's on the run. He's going to get, whatever by the cops. I guess it's the next morning. I don't know. But, like, unless they hooked up, like, he might not remember her. He might be like, oh, yeah, I remember some girl helped me. But, like, she'll remember because his name is on TV and in the paper and his face is on, you know what I mean? So
I think you would recognize her.
Plus, she's Minka Kelly and she's beautiful, so.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's fucking gorgeous. And she gave you a ride for presumably, like, halfway around San Antonio.
Any other notes about the minute 3 of the Turbo Charged Prelude?
That was a bland one for 1 minute. It was.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not good. But I do like, you said this minute starts at the diner. The next one's going to start at the car dealership. Like, they are, in some regard, kind of self-contained, right? So
yeah, that's true. They're just like a hair off. They're like 3 seconds off.
Yeah.
Or like not even like half a second off.
Unfortunate, but, it is what it is. But, Joe, let's take a break and let us come back to talk about Akira.
Episode number 165, Akira. This episode is brought to you by the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics that will host all the ice events, curling, ice hockey, and skating, and 4 snow events, snowboard, big air, and freestyle skiing, big air, men and women's. Shout out to the Beijing 2020 2022 Winter Olympics.
Well, shout out to them and welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. We're talking about Akira from 1988. So this is a movie, Joe, that I know that I mentioned to you that I've not seen. But this was, and this is not really a hint for the Letterboxd game, but this was the 15th most popular film on Letterboxd.
Damn.
That I had not seen.
You mean in your personal rankings, or overall it's ranked 15?
No, so like if you sort all films on Letterboxd by popularity, and then I remove the ones I had not seen, this is 15th. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, because like I think I've seen like the top 60. So like, you know, like, and like I've seen like 119 of the top 120 or something.
That's what I thought. This is in reference to you, not the
Yes.
the
So
world.
like of
Okay.
all the like, you know, pop culture blind spots in my life, I would say this is very high up there.
Okay.
But I don't know, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it says more. Yeah, I'm saying it more about me than about the movie itself. But it is also a very popular movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very popular.
Because this is the movie that's widely credited with bringing anime into mainstream Western audiences.
Yes. Did you like this movie?
I did. So like this also, like we were talking in the intro about Cobra Kai, like this kind of has that hype in it where like this is going to change your life. Not really change your life, but like this is like the greatest anime of all time. And like for a lot of the first hour, I'm like, yeah, I like this, but like I don't get it. And then like it gets weird and I'm like, okay, this is cool. But like a lot of the first hour, I'm just like, I don't know. So here's what I thought the movie was about.
Go ahead.
I thought that Akira was the guy in the poster.
Yeah.
And I thought that he was like some kind of vigilante bike guy, and that he went around like solving crimes or avenging justice or whatever. But like that dude is like not super important. Like he's kind of important, but like
Yeah.
he's not Akira. Like Akira is just like this like legendary being that once was.
Yeah.
And then like there's this other dude, Tetsuo, who like gets superpowers. But I'm like, you know, not that I was like with any degree of confidence would be like, this is what it's about. But I'm like, I bet it's about this guy who's named Akira, and it's his bike, and like he goes around like solving crimes or stopping crimes. And like not at all.
No. That's cool, though. It's wild. I don't think I've ever watched this movie sober until today.
Oh, it is on Hulu if people want to watch both subbed and dubbed. So if you
Which
want
one
to
did
read
you
or if you
watch?
want to listen to. Subbed, of course.
Oh, I watched dubbed. The dubs in this area are pretty good. Plus, you get to watch the better, you get to pay more attention to the fun fucking animation.
But yeah, so what this movie is about is that we open in 1988, so modern day for the movie, and a nuclear bomb ostensibly hits Tokyo.
Yes.
And we flash forward 31 years to the distant future of 2019
And
for AD Tokyo that's about to host the Olympics, which is crazy because Tokyo was about to host the Olympics last year.
Yes.
And we are post World War III, and there's like biker gangs and shit.
Yeah, it's a good place to start. But I was just fucking floored that it was 2019 and there was not enough press about Akira predicting the 2020 Olympics being in Tokyo.
Yeah, like on IMDb, that's like the fifth or sixth most popular trivia, which means that like a lot of people have been like, I wonder if, and then like thumbs up the trivia. But like, I know it's a bigger deal, but like, oh, it's Back to the Future Day or whatever, right? But like, no, I don't remember seeing a single, maybe because I hadn't seen the movie, but like, I don't remember a single thing being like, Akira, this one thing that Akira got right. It's like, well, oh, okay, yeah, but
yeah,
no,
you think we'd have 35 Screen Rant articles about it by now, right? Like the 6 things Akira predicted.
I mean, I'm sure that we will, you know, I will find an Akira article by the time we record next about like Akira's, you know, whatever, because like that's just how Google works. Like they're like, oh, what you're Googling IMDb Akira? Okay, yeah, we'll serve up some Akira ads to you. Okay, cool.
Cool. Nice.
So this is what I thought was funny. So I said this, you know, brought anime over here. They were going to do a live action version, but it was going to cost more than $300 million. So like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Cause that was in the 90s, like $300 million in the 90s. But what's funny to me is these two people with like radically good track records, but George Lucas and Steven Spielberg both called it unmarketable in the US. So like, yeah, you can't sell that here. And it's like, well, you were wrong. So
to the victors, get to write the history, right? So like, I'm sure that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg have missed on a lot of shit. And like, we just obviously don't hear about it because you're like, oh, look at this thing that they did find, like Star Wars. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah, I'm sure that they were like a bunch of stuff. They were like, like, the guy at Blockbuster that was like, fuck Netflix. Like, we're not buying that.
Right.
It's bullshit. And you're like, yeah, the big mistake, bro.
Did you catch
what?
The biggest, and this is kind of a trick question, but I'm asking it in a very specific way. Did you catch the biggest fast action in this movie?
Biggest fast action in this movie.
And I'll give you a hint that it's not actually in this movie. But what's the biggest fast action between this and the Fastiverse?
I don't know. The thing that I thought the most connected the two the way the tail lights like streak and like the NOS
Okay.
boosting.
Which is super, super cool. I love that.
But what's your big connection? What did I miss?
So this is something, it's not in this movie, so you didn't miss it this time, but it's something that I did not know was a reference to this. But then when I heard the name Kaneda, because it's Kaneda, but it's pronounced Kaneda. In the Teriyaki Boyz song for Tokyo Drift, they say, like a Kaneda, Tai Tetsuo, Neo Tokyo metsubou, which means like a Kaneda versus Tetsuo, Neo Tokyo destroyed, heat before it disappears, let's go diverge. But like, I did not realize that the Teriyaki Boyz were referencing Akira.
That makes so much sense.
But when I heard Canada, because in my brain, I'm like when I'm listening to that song before this, I'm like, are they singing about Canada? Like, they can't be singing about Canada, but I'm like, whatever. It's just some like Japanese word I don't know. But like referencing this movie, I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. Like a
there
Canada.
You go. So it's directly in Tokyo Drift then.
Yeah, man.
That's perfect. Beautiful.
I think one of the weirdest things about this movie is like the little like nuclear fallout kids, like these like little ghost children, or maybe they're not even
like
children.
Old. They're like they're olds in children's bodies. Like their body has aged, but they never grew up from being children.
Yeah, like whether they were like victims of the fallout or like, you know, just
I think they just had superpowers.
Parents were radiated. Maybe
I don't
also
think
that.
I don't think that they're victims of the fallout. I think that they just like are superhero. Like they just had superpowers. So they like, you know, kind of like the X-Men. Like they were like collecting the specials.
Right. Yes. So there's like the 3 of them, I think.
There's 4, right?
4? Okay.
Because there's Akira, and then there was the 3 of them.
Yeah, but Akira is just like, well, when the movie starts, and like by the time we first see Akira, like Akira is just like a bunch of nerves and shit in jars.
Yeah, they preserve.
Like Akira was like this like ultimate power thing, and then like they keep him at like 0.0005 Kelvin or whatever, like, which is, you know, not humanly possible, I don't think.
Absolute zero. And you couldn't have walked into the room that's in there.
No, they're just like...
Yeah, they're like, put on this coat.
Strolling in. Yeah.
Put on this coat so you could go to the Akira room. And it's like, no, dude, you're not going to die.
But I mean, the big question, you know what the question I have to ask is now, and tying it to the Fastiverse, is what if Han is Tetsuo now? Like, what if Han is like supercharged, superpowered?
But like for good or for evil?
That's the big question.
Because Tetsuo is kind of evil, right? Like, he can't harness his power.
Does Tetsuo have the abilities and they wake up, or does one of the Fallout kids give them to him?
That's an interesting question, and I don't know. No, because there's a point where, like, Kay or someone says, like, the power is within all of us at all times. It's just...
It's a very positive spin on radiation.
Yeah.
We're all fucked up inside, but like maybe we're all superheroes.
The cancer makes you stronger. No, I think it's more supposed to be like the power is kind of within everyone, but like these people can unlock it type situation.
Sure, yeah.
This actually has like really strong Umbrella Academy vibes. Did you watch Umbrella Academy?
No, not yet. I want to, but I was also thinking like, so last week I was talking about the video game Control, and I played it. I basically beat the main story. Actually, I did beat the main story. I have like DLC and stuff, but like a lot of the like psychic abilities in that are like literally what Tetsuo is doing. So I'm sure, you know, this influenced a whole bunch of things. Like
so many things.
And I'll talk about that, but like I'm sure that like a lot of like ways, like both the manga this was adapted from and then this anime itself, like I'm sure that it influenced like a generation of creators, like the people who made Control, the people who made Umbrella Academy, to be like, yeah, like this is like cool shit that like ways that we can describe or show or showcase people with like mind control, right? So
yeah, and the animation's fucking wild, dude.
Well, like when it gets into body horror, that was like the cool stuff. Like when he like just like I love like the teddy bear coming to life, like being like all like combined by like different objects or whatever. But then like for him to become this like massive like veiny
amoebus,
yeah,
eating everything type situation, blob, yeah.
It was cool though. Like I think it's the kind of movie that like once I knew what it was about and where it was going, if I watch it again, when I watch it again, I will like it more. But like for a lot of it, I was kind of like not lost, but like I don't know where this is going. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the benefit of seeing it again, where it's like I don't know what this is about, or like not what's important, because I think like it does a good job of kind of streamlining things, but like I didn't know what the story actually was. Like because I don't think like you're like okay, because like the character we're kind of following for a while is not really like he's kind of the protagonist, but like he's not who the story happens to.
No, which is a very cool spin, right? Unusual for storytelling.
It's what we're talking about with Heather, right? With like the active protagonist. It's like, well, the first movie is like not really Brian's story, but like it shouldn't be Brian's story, but it is, right?
Yeah, it's weird, and it's cool that his friend is the villain. You're always like friends with the hero, so that's kind of interesting. Like there's just like a whole bunch of like weird story choices that I really like. This movie's just another one of these movies that's beautiful, and like the storyline's like kind of convoluted, so I felt watching this sober that this felt a lot like what you guys were experiencing, you and Garrett, when we were watching Tokyo Drifter. That you're like, oh, like the story's happening around you, but like, does it really matter?
There's brain scans that like have a musical tone, and like I don't really understand this, but like they have this brain scan or whatever from Akira, and it has like this certain sound, right? And then they
Yes.
scan Tetsuo's brain, and like it complements it in a way that like makes this beautiful song, and they're like, oh, like there's something here. And then by the end of the movie, he kind of like merges with Akira and becomes like this like all powerful whatever, right? But like,
Yes.
when you're watching, I'm like, I don't know what.
That's funny, and you bring up the idea of like the soundtrack, or at least like the sounds. They play really well with silence in this movie, which is like something you don't see in a lot of movies. Like there's like dead silence in like big chunks is conveying that you have like tinnitus or like something's exploding, and that's like really fucking awesome. And I don't know why we don't do that in more movies instead of just like, what is it, the Christopher Nolan, just everything's just
Right.
fucking loud.
Well, I think that's, like when Gravity, like when they had the outer space and like there was just like
Yes.
15 minutes, there was silence or whatever. It's like, oh, like movie theaters posting, like there's not a problem with the movie. Like there's long stretches of silence because like dummies in the crowd were like, why is there, well, it's like there's space is a vacuum.
Yeah.
Get with it. But like what I think is interesting, especially, given our lap and given where this movie takes place in Tokyo, is that like, all of Japan following the nuclear fallout, like the actual nuclear fallout of World War II, like rebuilt and became so technologically savvy. And like, I haven't been there, but like the way that I've seen it depicted in movies and stuff, like it seems like it's a nonstop orgy of sounds and things to see and hear and whatever. And
yes,
whether that was conscious or not, it seems like this nuclear bomb, the fictional one in '88, like kind of changed that. So it seems like Tokyo is a much more like urban, but like in like a concrete kind of way. Like instead of like metal and glass, it's like, oh no, this is just like a quiet, like this is just like kind of gritty, kind of slummy. It's not like all neons and stuff, and it's not like sights and sounds. It's like there's just, it feels like there's room for silence or whatever.
This is the cool part about Japan, that there's like very, very hyper stimulating parts of it, and there's like super saturated parts. But then like once you like go into neighborhoods and stuff, like you'll find a lot of stuff that looks just like this still, or even looks like old Japan. Like it's a nice balance of it. It's not like everything is Times Square.
It would be crazy. Like that was kind of what I was picturing, where it's just like, oh, I can't,
No. It's really not like, I mean, because granted, like when you're shooting a movie, you want the most visually appealing things, right? But even when you're like, it's like Sean's dad's house in Tokyo Drift, there's not like lights all around that.
No, but there's like the different kind of like where he's like on top of the woman eating her noodles, right? And it's just like, oh yeah, like it's a different kind of like claustrophobia. Like this feels like there's more sort of spaced out or whatever.
Well, the thing is, the other part of this is that Tokyo is fucking huge, dude. It's like massively big. To get from one side to the other, like you'll get a breadth of everything, right? Like you'll be like apartment buildings that are like stacked on top of each other in like small houses, but then you'll get like to places where like you'll have a little bit more room once you start like leaving the city, because you could be like 20 minutes outside the city but still be in like Tokyo, right?
Because I'm looking right now, so Tokyo is 847 square miles.
Yeah.
Manhattan by comparison is 22 square miles, and all of New York City, like all 5 boroughs, is 300 miles. So like if you take all the boroughs, Tokyo is almost triple the size, right?
Yep.
So like
it's insanely big. Like it's way bigger than like if you put that into comparison, there you go. Perfect scope.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge.
I think because, like what we were saying before about not really knowing what it's about or what to follow or what matters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially seeing it for the first time, like I didn't take a ton of notes because I'm like, I don't know like what's important. I was enjoying it, but I'm just like, I don't know, like even like if I wrote down like what was happening, like it wouldn't really make sense. I'm like, I don't know, like biker gangs. But like the biker gangs don't even really matter. Like there's like the rival gang. There's like the school that they're at for like bad kids, but like that all goes away. It's just like it becomes like this normal kind of hood rat sort of situation into like, oh no, like this guy like is threatening all of humanity with his like superpowers now. It's like, oh, I did not see from A to B or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's very paranormal very quickly. I was like looking for things that reminded me of Tokyo Drift that weren't like overt, that weren't like the most obvious fucking things that we can imagine. Like in the beginning, they're fighting with the biker gang, right? The clowns, which are really cool costumes. Like the animation of that is like fucking awesome. I like that they like have these, like their motorcycle helmets have like clown faces on them. It's really cool. It kind of feels like very purgy. So they're like chasing them. They chase them into the old city where like the Olympic stadiums are being built, and they're also housing Akira underground. They like have like this race, and they like kind of play chicken, which is very Fast and the Furious, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where Tetsuo like meets one of the alien children or the special children, we don't know. But then the rest of them get arrested, right? And like because the army shows up to be like, get the fuck out of here, like you're not supposed to be in here. So they're in jail, And as he's like walking, it felt like such a Fast and Furious moment that like he's in jail and he's like, "Hey, old man, like she's with us." Gets Kay out of jail just by being like kind of lusty about her, and I was like, this is like definitely a move I could see Brian or Dom doing.
I feel like it's less Brian and Dom, more like Roman and Tej, like just like,
Really?
oh, yeah, no, she's, because he's doing, because he thinks that she's cute, and then like they get out and like it's not like she even says thank you. She's just like, all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. Yeah, get the fuck out.
Like it feels like it's like a Tej thing, like, oh, we're gonna flex our muscles here or whatever, right? So
no, it felt like a Brian and Dom thing to me if they were at the age Kaneda is in this movie. Get what I'm saying? Because like I'm picturing them as like 16, not like 30. Like with Mia and Letty and stuff like that. Like if you were like 16, you'd be like, "Hey, watch this." But then like the really corniness made me feel like it was a very Brian move. Like afterwards, he's like, "Hey, I'm like really cool guy. Do you want to get a drink?"
calling me her boyfriend is like a little bit of a stretch, but like
Yeah, exactly. So that was one of my big match moments, like that little sequence right there, like the chicken and then this. Did you have any?
I mean, I like the when Tetsuo puts on like a Superman-esque red cape. Like we talk about how like the Fast and Furious people have basically become superheroes, but like he literally like kind of looks like the superhero, right? Like he's like, I'm going to be Superman here.
His hair goes Super Saiyan. It like goes up.
Not really Fast and Furious, but there's like the one quote I wrote down, which will probably be like the pull quote on the website. But like the future doesn't proceed along a single course. There ought to be a future we can choose. I think it's like the girl, the special child or whatever. I think that's the girl who says that. But like, you know, we're entering a point in the franchise where maybe time travel, maybe this, maybe that, right? And like, if she's like, hey, you know, there's maybe multiple future timelines, or like just like, you know, choosing your own fate or your own destiny or whatever. So yeah. I don't really understand, like, Akira comes back. Like, they think Akira comes back, but it's just Tetsuo. But then Akira actually comes back, and that's when they kind of merge. Like, they're birthing a new universe, but, like, that doesn't happen or does like how does the movie actually end? Like where do we wind up when this movie is over?
They restart the universe in a new small universe, but leave the other one behind. It's not like they do found a new one, but they don't destroy the one that currently exists. It's like the multiverse thing, right? Like they just like break a path open and they're like, we go here now.
Well, because like what's also weird, and not necessarily weird, because if you don't know this, then like it's fine. Before the credits, there's like that like black and white kind of just like what looks maybe like a nuclear bomb, but maybe not. But like that was just like a pencil test. This is not a spoiler for Lost, but like when Lost first aired at the end of the finale, after the credits or during the credits, they just had like a bunch of like extra footage they shot of like airplane wreckage on the beach. And they just put it on TV. And so people were like, wait, did they all die? Like, was the entire show fake? Like, did they die in the plane crash? And then like David Lindelof had to come out and be like, no, we kind of, I guess we fucked up doing that. Like that was just like extra footage. Like we just like had something to put under the credits or whatever. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we just kind of threw it in the movie, but it's like, well, people maybe reading into it are like, what does that actually mean? Like, but I don't know. Like it's just kind of a weird, cool looking thing, but I also don't know that it matters.
That's the whole point of is what I'm getting to. Is like, I don't think that any of this really matters. I think that it's your own like interpretation of all of this. I don't think there's a right answer to any of these questions.
And I definitely couldn't. I mean, I definitely can't answer it after seeing it once, right? Like I don't,
No, like even if you watch it a bunch of times, I don't think that there's like right answers to this. It's not meant to have like right. It's like whatever artsy in the way that like it's whatever it speaks to you about it, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That's why it's like really fun to watch stoned, because it's like, doesn't fucking matter, right?
So there's the shot early on where Kaneda's bike slides to a stop away from the camera in the opening chase.
Yeah.
People consider that the most referenced shot in animation, apparently. And it's a kind of shot, or like an homage, that appears in Teen Titans, Clone Wars, Samurai Jack, Batman the Animated Series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Adventure Time, The Simpsons, and Pokemon. So like, all these like shows that I don't want to say like wouldn't exist without Akira. Like maybe Pokemon, you know what I mean? But like a lot of these are like, they owe a debt of gratitude or whatever to like the like how it pushed animation forward, even if it's like in a specific way, but like in a specific way, This
is not a very childish animation, right? Like this is for adults.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is an R-rated anime, right? So,
which is crazy. Like I don't think I don't think we had that in America at the time.
No, like I don't think we had any anime. Like I think that's what pushed this here. And like,
Yeah.
you know, around the same time, like Miyazaki was making Studio Ghibli movies, but like that's like explicitly for families and for kids. Like this is like the other side of the coin. Like at a distance, the animation seems similar. Like it's the same style, sort of, but it's like, oh no, like, you know, like don't go from that to this. Like that is this is not for your 4-year-old nephew or whatever to watch.
No, yeah, it's definitely not. There's a lot of bitches in it. Yeah, for sure. Saying the word bitch, not bitches.
Kanye apparently used some of the movie in his video for Stronger.
Yeah, this is one of the, like the first times that like I was like watching and thinking about this movie is because Kanye would always talk about. There's like a couple of these movies that Kanye like strongly was influenced by, and it's like this. And what's the one that's like, oh fuck, my friend was telling me about it. You probably know. It's like something on the mountain, like Dead on the Mountain or something of the Holy Mountain.
Oh, there's just the Holy Mountain, which is a Yodorowski movie.
Did he make like a bunch of other weird movies?
Yeah, he was one of the, I think I don't know, hold on, Alejandro Yodorowski. I actually just looked him up recently because there's a movie called Santa Sangre that came out that they're re-releasing in 4K, but he made like the Holy Mountain and El Topo, and
yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah, he's a Chilean filmmaker, like one of like the most surreal, just like David Lynch is like surreal, but like also kind of like accessible in a weird way. Like Yodorowski's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, man. Like it is wild.
Kanye talks about like Akira is like super influential to him, and like Yodorowski, and he said like he really wanted to go meet this guy, and he was like, fine, then you can come to Chile and like fucking talk to me. And like Kanye like showed up with a translator because he just wanted to talk to this guy so bad. They like asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, he just wanted to ask me questions about the movie, so like we talked. And like he was like very unimpressed with like what happened, but like Kanye was like, I am famous enough that I'll go do this, and like I want to do this.
There was a documentary that came out like 5 or 6 years ago called Yodorowski's Dune. The movie Dune that David Lynch eventually adapted and then will come out again this year that Villeneuve is making with Timothée Chalamet and whatever, based on the book, the Frank Herbert book. Yodorowski was supposed to make that like in the 70s, I think. It never happened. They had done so much prep work on this movie, and they had all this like visuals and everything, and like there's a whole bunch of issues. Like this documentary came out about like why it didn't happen, called Yodorowski's Dune. Every single person who worked on that movie and like every major set piece would go on to like become like all the biggest like Star Wars and Alien and like all this crazy stuff that like was going to go into that movie all eventually made its way into other shit. And so like in a similar way that Akira then goes on to influence all this different stuff, like Yodorowski and his team are like, hey, we're going to do this. And then this guy's like, well, we can't make it, but I'm going to go make this movie called Alien or whatever. Like, I'm going to take some ideas. And so like, it's just cool how one thing leads to another, even if the first thing does not actually happen.
I like watching these things that are more like rooted, that you see like the base of it and you're like, okay, then all the shit shoots out from that. Like, as opposed to like linear progression. Like, there's some things that just like, hit and they're just like, they're so huge that you're like, this is seen fucking everywhere. And we watch like the first one of it. Like when we were doing like the classic car movies, right? Like you see some of them and you're just like, oh yeah, every single person that's made a car movie since then has watched this movie.
And even if it's not like a direct thing where it's like, oh, this shot becomes that. I think we even talked about this on Tokyo Drifter, right? Where it's just like, it all is just like, it's the additive, it's the cumulative effect of like being raised on movies like this and in a culture like this and reading manga and watching anime or whatever. And then like, just being like, okay, like I'm going to make my own thing now. And even if it's a totally different genre or medium or whatever, I'm still going to be influenced by Akira. Yeah. Do you have any other notes or any other thoughts about Akira before we play a couple games and watch a trailer?
There's this one quote that I really liked, and it was the general is talking to like the scientists, and he's like, scientists are just a bunch of romantics. Like I exist in the real world, like not like them. And it just like hit home because I was like, I guess like at the core of it, I feel more dreamy than realist. Because, like, science is so based in reality, right? Like, everything that we're looking at. But at the same time, like, scientists are very dreamy. Like, you, like, want this thing to happen. Not that you're going to, like, you know, fudge results or something. But in the same sense, like, you're like, oh, if this happens, and this happens. And you keep, like, drifting along. And it was just a cool thought that I, like, never... You know, whenever we see scientists shown in film or anything, it's like, oh, this is, like, the real... Like, they're the person to be like, no, we can't do that.
I guess the one version where we see it is like the like crazy scientist who's like, well, no, we're gonna have a breakthrough or whatever. But like if you see a movie about those, like it's like, well, their crazy idea worked, right? So like it's even like then like they're grounded in reality. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The word Akira means bright, intelligent, and clear. So that's that. And then Tetsuo means Iron Man, which, kind of foreshadows what's going to happen to him. But also, yeah. He also has a bionic arm, which is kind of, oh God, what's the name in Hobbs and Shaw? The company.
Brixton?
Yeah, but what's
Eteon?
the, Eteon, that's it. Oh boy.
Do you think Eteon started in Japan?
Maybe.
After
Maybe.
World War III in Neo Tokyo? Actually, this seems, you know what? The scientists that work here, the general guy or like the military guy seems like he could be an Eteon underling, right?
Yeah.
It feels kind of Brixton-y. Like, that's a very Brixton character. Like, you're not the boss, but you're like running stuff like on the ground. And like you're kind of like the boss of that. Like you're like, mid-tier manager, mid-level manager.
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Manager, yeah.
Cool. Let's watch the trailer. I don't know if this is the real trailer or not. I just Googled Akira trailer, and this is called Akira Legendary Trailer. It's 1 minute 52 seconds, posted by MelodiQuest with 833,000 views.
MelodiQuest.
It starts like in the middle of an action scene, so I don't know what this trailer is, but we're going to find out together.
Go ahead. Whenever you're ready, I'm keen.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
Middle of an action scene for sure. Is it a trailer?
I don't know, man.
It doesn't seem like it.
Neo Tokyo is going to change soon.
Oh,
now it
maybe
feels like
is.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, there's so much weird animation in this.
I feel like this looks nicer than the version that's on Hulu.
I think so too.
They just remastered in the last year or two in 4K. They put out a 4K version of this, which I'm sure looks beautiful.
Man, maybe we have to watch the 4K version. I thought the Hulu one would have a 4K version. You're right. This definitely looks
Hulu does
crispier.
have some stuff, I think, in 4K, but yeah. Like, this just looks like cleaner and brighter.
From legendary director Katsuhiro Otomo
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look as muddy
comes one of the
as the Hulu version.
animated films of all time.
Most animated film of all time.
Akira.
I do like the Dragon Ball yelling and
Yeah.
battling, right?
Realistically, the Dragon Ball yelling is like Akira yelling, right?
Yeah. Right, did it come first? 88? When did Dragon Ball start?
I have no idea. I also do
Definitely
like that
later
this makes it look like it's Akira versus, or not Akira, but it's Tetsuo versus Kaneda. Like, Kaneda just has a big gun. It's like the battery dies or whatever, he like runs away. It's like, I don't have powers. I just have a big ass gun.
Yeah?
Yeah, like this shit, like the teeth and everything.
Yep.
Oh, it's an Adult Swim trailer. Okay, interesting. There was a movie that Brian covered on his podcast called Society, which like kind of starts as like a haves and have-nots in high school, then gets like real freaking weird at the end. And that's kind of like sort of the journey that this takes. So if you want to check out a weird kind of body horror movie, check out Society.
Dragon Ball ran from 84 to 95.
Oh, really? That early? Wow, okay.
And aired April 1989 on Fuji TV. So this was probably being made right around the same time.
Yeah, because Akira was based on the manga. It was made in 87, came out in 88, and the manga ended in 1990. So it's all happening like kind of concurrently, right? So
Yeah. And then this, which we always talk about and should like watch at some point too, is like from this, then you get like Initial D at like 95 or something. So it's like...
Yeah, Initial D is on the list.
In Initial D, like if you watch this, you see like Initial D is just like a car homage to Akira, right? Like
That's cool.
in a lot of senses. It like looks like it sounds like it operates a lot like it. So that's, I mean, well, without, okay, whatever.
I don't know if this is easy or not, but for reference sake, I messaged you guys like big news, which I told you I will never actually share big news by saying big news, but
Yeah.
It's not the movie that we use as reference, but Inception now has been logged more than 1 million times on Letterboxd. So shout out to Inception.
Yeah,
but
congrats.
The movie that we do use, Mad Max Fury Road, has been seen by 738,000 people. 738 and change.
Okay.
Akira 1988, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, starring Mitsuo Iwata, Nozumo Sasaki, and Mami Koyama, has been seen by how many people? And again, it's popular, but I don't know how popular. Like, I don't know on what page.
Same. I don't know either. I'm going to go 175,000.
You're not crazy far off, but you're too low.
Okay, 225,000.
One more in between those numbers, between 175 and 225, somewhere in between.
I'm going to go 189.
210 for 26.
That's
Average
insane.
rating
That's
of
insane.
4.2.
Okay.
Almost an exact even split between 4 and 5 stars, and then a 4.5, and then a 3.5, and then 3. But how many of those 210,000 people have this in their top 4 of all time?
It's going to be high. I think it'd probably be one of the highest we've ever had. Let's say, like, I'm going to guess this number and I think it's high. How about, like, 1,500?
You are way too low.
Really?
Yep.
6,500.
Now you're way too high. Somewhere in between.
Okay. 3,200.
4,400
insane,
people.
dude.
I was thinking, because I have a bunch of people who have given it 5 stars or whatever, like Mike Manzi gave us 5 stars, Garrett Smith gave us 5 stars. I thought I'd be able to find a friend with this in their top 4. I did not, but I did find Bryce T, maybe,
Bryce T, I like it. That's a good name.
on Letterboxd at Bryce T, who reviewed it twice and said, seeing this in a theater got me the red face emoji with the tongue out sweating, I guess like all hot and bothered, and then like the kind of drunk emoji like, I lost my mind here. But Bryce T has us in their top 4. Bryce T322 on Twitter. Bryce has Akira as his number 2 movie of all time. The other 3 are all movies that I would guess you've seen. I know that you've seen at least one, and I know that you've talked about another one a lot, and I would hope, for my sake and yours, that you've watched the 4th. But one is recent, one is, actually 2 are pretty recent, and then one is from the 80s, early 80s.
Okay.
So, okay, what's this is going to be a broad hint, but there's number 4. What is kind of aesthetically, sort of, kind of, not like plot-wise, but just like the feel of this movie. What's like an American version of this movie from the early 80s?
An American version of this movie from the early 80s. Did we cover
Kind of. No, but we covered something related to it, and not on this podcast, on a different podcast.
Wow. Okay.
It's an intentionally terrible clue.
Is it
Not intentionally terrible.
motocross?
No.
Channing Sorry, that was a joke for you.
No, and it's called Supercross. Thank you very much,
Supercross,
Rowdy Sparks. No, this is it's considered probably one of the best movies of all time. It's sci-fi. It feels like this movie, kind of.
Alien? No, that's later.
No, that's earlier actually, but no.
Okay.
It's
The Thing? It? Like The Blob? Something?
No, not horror.
Okay.
And we covered its sequel on another podcast, which came out
Sequel.
like 35 years later. Its sequel came out.
Fuck. What is it? I can think of. I know that sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
The
Blade
star of
Runner.
this-
Blade Runner.
Yep, Blade Runner. Yep,
Okay,
Blade Runner.
gotcha.
Number 1 is a movie that you have a joke about. I don't know if you've seen this movie or not, but you have a joke about this movie.
Eat, Pray, Love.
Different joke, different movie.
I have a joke about this movie.
I would say it's essentially a meme that you've created.
It's a meme that I've created.
Not like an image, but like a thing that you go to. You have one specific way of referencing this movie.
I have one specific way, and it's a modern movie,
Came out a couple years ago.
and I just reference it one specific way.
Uh-huh.
I know you're just not trying to hand it to me, because it must be something pretty common.
It's a very popular movie. There's 2 lead actors, each of which with a very distinctive characteristic that I could share with you. But there's one way that you refer to this movie. You and Rachel refer to this movie.
Is it the Timothée Chalamet one?
Yep, Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah, let's go swimming.
With a cannibal and with your boy. Okay, and then number 3, that's his number 1 favorite movie of all time.
You saw Timothée Chalamet in a Edward Scissorhands commercial.
Yes, as his son, right?
Yeah, that's
Very exciting.
my man's was in the Super Bowl there.
And then number 3, his third favorite movie. Ultimately, the reason I picked this person, his number 3 movie might be my favorite movie of all time.
Paddington 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
Call Me By Your Name, Akira, Paddington 2, and Blade Runner. And his profile picture on Letterboxd is of Paddington from Paddington 2.
You need to friend this person.
So I love the musician Phoebe Bridgers. She had, like, my favorite album that came out last year was that, and she just performed on SNL this past weekend, and the internet hated it because,
Wow.
well, no, let me take that back. incels hated it because she smashed her guitar at the end. And there was one dude
Oh, I
on
saw
Twitter
a
just
meme
like,
about that. Was like, why would you smash this? Why would you smash this guitar when starving children could eat that?
so like this one dude was like, why is this woman Phoebe Bridgers smashing her guitar? Or why is this lady? It's just like this like wildly out of touch. It's like, I don't know.
Like the Who did it for years. Like that was like the whole shtick of the Who.
The London Calling cover for The Clash is literally him smashing his guitar, right? So it's just
Yeah,
like,
Pete Townsend did it like every concert for like 2 decades.
but because the internet hates women and because, you know, whatever, they can't let her have nice things. And like her Twitter has been fucking,
Shit show.
I mean, it's always, she's been like retweeting like just like everybody making the best jokes about like just taking down dudes who had a problem with her performance. she has someone who follows her every single time she tweets. It's just like Paddington 2 Stan or something. And just like, Phoebe, I need you to watch Paddington 2. Like no matter what she says, like they'll twist it. Like it's basically the BD WAP feed, but like, please just watch Paddington 2. And like, it's always like, I don't follow this account, but like, it's always liked enough to like go up to like number 1 or number 2 in her replies. And it's just like, Phoebe, like, you know how it would be, be really great? Like if you know how it'd be like, what would be really smashing if you watch Paddington 2 or whatever. So like,
I'm really disappointed. I wish that this was like the Lord Onion Rings thing and that like that was your burner Twitter account.
I wish so. But like, so I think it's some like girl uses it like as her normal Twitter and then like also just like replies to everything Phoebe Bridgers does. Like it's just like this weird like dual personality. But next week we will have our friend Heather Antos watching Fast 5, which she will be joining us for next week, talking about Fast 5 on Too Fast, Too Forever. Very exciting.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
I hope she likes this one.
She seems like she's coming around. I was about to say that.
does.
Like, if you guys listened to the last episode, like, she really seems like she's not more accepting, but she's more comfortable in this world now.
Yeah. You know, this is the big one. So if she doesn't like this one, it's all downhill from here. But I think she will. So any other thoughts about Akira or anything we talked about tonight?
No, Akira's fun. I'm glad you finally watched it, and it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, this sounds weird, but it like really puts me to sleep. It's like soothing. As much as like the content is very like dark and mysterious and weird, like it's very soothing. So get stoned and watch it to go to sleep.
Yeah, on Hulu or find a better version because the Hulu one is kind of not
the 4K. It's probably worth the 4K. I want to rewatch it in 4K. I totally forgot that they did that.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page, Patreon bonus episodes, TooFastTooForever.com, and our store at TooFastTooForever.shop. Come back next week as we talk about Fast 5, once again with Heather Antos. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we'll tell you all about it
when we see you